आलोक जी फाइल बुक कर लीजिएगा लैपटॉप से.
Good morning, everyone. We can start the session.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. Global Foundation for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, in collaboration with Nirwan University, Jaipur, has launched a webinar series, giving a platform to global leaders and academicians to share their views. The university aims to offer quality education with the focus on employability and promoting meaningful research and innovation. Today, we are presenting a webinar on Feminist Research Methodology, presented by Professor Tanu Tandon. I would like to introduce our today's guest and expert, Professor Tanu Tandon. Professor Tandon is a teacher educator with 17 years of experience. She is having expertise in qualitative and quantitative research, grounded theory methodology, women and gender studies, education for sustainable development, constructive pedagogy, and educational psychology. She served as a Dean Education in Amity University and also worked as a Director, Center for Women and Gender Studies at Nirwan University, Jaipur. Professor Tandon did PhD in Education from Lucknow University, MA in Women Studies and MSc in Environmental Science. She is also having MA from University of Mumbai and awarded with Chancellor Gold Medal along with UGC NET. She has published one book, 3 chapters, 15 papers in international and national journals of repute. Before going ahead, I want to call Mr. Alok sir to welcome our today's guest. Over to you, Alok sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jasuja. So on behalf of whole entire team, Global Foundation for Skill Development and Nirvana University, I heartily welcome today's speaker, Professor Dr. Tanu Tandon. Ma'am, your well and high academic research experience gives us a broader view to listen you in this webinar. Before to introduce much more, I think should have to be introduced before on the platform on this much. Nirwan University Jaipur is established by Act number 2 of 2017, the state government of Rajasthan, and it offers the educational programs starting from diploma level to doctorate level. This university has round figure of around 5,000 students enrolled here, offering in different programs. And the another one organization, which is Global Foundation for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, is continuously organizing various activities on the social media platforms and in physical to promote the skill development, training, quality education, and other platforms. So on behalf of both of the institution, we heartily welcome you, ma'am, in this webinar series. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alok ji. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Jasuja. It's feel like coming back home. So
thank you, ma'am. So nice of you.
In fact, I haven't left the home for that matter.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am.
It's like that, and so good to meet everyone, and so good to feel on this side. I've always been on that side doing the webinars and getting all jittery. It's all 11 and all that, and Alok ji start kariye and all that. So it's good to be on this side for once. And maybe later Dr. Preeti will give me the chance to organize the webinar as well later. Feels so good to be here. And although when I was there and we were discussing about the activities of the Center for Women and Gender Studies, a lot of times we discussed about feminist research methodology, that we need to do an FDP or something. And then when Professor Goyal, Vice Chancellor, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, offered this opportunity, I said, why not? So I would take his name also in the webinar because he's the one who has been motivating and guiding, and he's the one who is the one pushing to do the quality work. And he's the one who also asked me, ma'am, when are you going to do one feminist research methodology? So thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you, everyone. Like a family, we are like a family. And it's good to be back there and talking to everyone. Now, coming back to the topic of today, the feminist research methodology. Whenever we talk about research methodology, we all talk about research methodology. The question which comes in the mind of people is that, is there a different research methodology for feminist research? So because feminism is a thought, जिसे हम नारीवाद कहते हैं. It's a thought. It's a kind of thing where we talk about giving equal opportunities to both men and women should be getting the equal opportunity as men. But then when we talk about the research part, we always say feminist research methodology. So there are always questions in the mind of students as well as the scholars who want to do their PhD. That is there a different research methodology for feminism or feminist studies? So today I would like to do that, and I would like to share screen. I hope I have the permission. है ना? Alok ji, you have given me?
Yes, you can.
One second. Give me a moment. Yes. Let it open for a while. Okay. So today in the presentation, we will be talking about, I have made this presentation in this sense that we'll be talking about what exactly we mean by feminist research methodology, what are the themes it covers, what are the perspectives it's look at when we talk about feminist research methodology, because there are always 2 or 3 stands on it. Most of the researchers, they feel that most of the men researchers, they feel that there cannot be any, you cannot define any different research methodology for feminist research. Even most of the feminist research also sometimes say that it is not proper to say that these are different feminist research methodology. So we have to find a midway. I've tried to find a midway. एक बीच का वो मैंने निकालने की कोशिश की है, जिसमें हम एक different research methodology की भी बात कर सकते हैं और हम एक different theme की भी बात कर सकते हैं, एक different stance की बात कर सकते हैं, जिसे अगर हम लेके चलें तो वो feminist research के दायरे में, के compartment में उसको हम fit कर सकते हैं. So let me share the PPT which I have made. Okay. So here I would like to talk about certain things when we talk about feminist research methodology. What is exactly feminist research methodology? So this is the conclusion which I've come up with. जो एक निचोड़ निकालने की हमने कोशिश की है वो यही है that it is a sum of certain feminist research methods. It uses a variety of existing research methods adopted to the purpose of conducting a feminist research. It is driven by praxis. अब हम इसमें commitment to praxis की बात करते हैं जब भी हम feminist research की बात करते हैं, because we always say that feminist research or a research done by the women on the women for the women, and it is always driven by the fact that it has to contribute to the development and the growth of the women or emancipation of the women. It aims at bringing change in lives of women. That means it is going to do something which makes their situation better. So there are certain themes in which we can divide feminist research methodology. First, we have to talk about is that feminism is a perspective, a viewpoint, and not a research method on its own. We have to understand this, that feminism or Narivad एक विचारधारा है. It's a point of view, it's a perspective. ये कोई research या शोध करने की प्रक्रिया नहीं है. ये एक विचारधारा है जिसके तहत हम ये मान के चलते हैं कि औरतों को आदमियों के बराबर हक मिलना चाहिए. उनको हक है अपॉर्चुनिटीज का, राइट्स का, जॉब का, इक्वल पे का, अपने डिसीजंस लेने का. So it's a perspective. Second, it use a multiplicity of research method जो feminist normally use करती है. अब इस पे भी हम आएंगे कि ऐसा हम क्यों मानते हैं, because whenever feminism or feminist they do any research on women basically, then you are talking about multiple things. You're talking about their emotional well-being, you're talking about the society, the societal pressures they feel. So when you want to research on their lives or their psyche or their problems, you have to take everything in an umbrella term. आपको सब कुछ देखना है 360 डिग्री से, तो आपको उनके बारे में पढ़ना है, उनका पर्सनल, उनकी सोसाइटी में उनके क्या विचार है, उनको क्या प्रॉब्लम्स है, तो नेचुरली आप एक मेथड से नहीं उनको पढ़ सकते। तो एज अ रिजल्ट आप बहुत सारे वेरियस मेथड्स यूज करते हैं, जिसको हम रिसर्च की भाषा में क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च की टेरिटरी में इसको हम रखते हुए कहते हैं दैट this is triangulation of methods. That means you are using more than 2 or 3 methods to come up with. Like for example, in my study, which I have done on aggressive women on towards the empowerment, I've used triangulation in that sense that grounded theory methodology was used to come up with the theory, but the case study method was used to report the study, and an inquiry was done through naturalistic inquiry. So all are qualitative research methods, but there are various methods which are used. So these are triangulation of methods, as we call them, or you can have a mixed method research. So the feminists tend to use more methods because they believe that getting on with a woman and her issues is a complex thing, and to get and to solve the complexity, to come up with a simpler version and to dig out and find out the problems of the women, to come up with the solutions, you cannot rely on one single method. You have to go deeper. You have to broaden your perspective. As a result, we say that the feminists normally, ideally use multiplicity of research methods. Feminist research involves an ongoing criticism of non-feminist scholarships, obviously. Because the feminists, they believe that the non-feminist studies or stances fail to give answers to their queries. They fail to. So as a result, they believe that the non-feminism stance is not doing justice to their stance. They're always criticizing that. And the criticism is a healthy thing because it makes you come up with the new things. Feminist research frequently attempts to develop positive stance, which we'll talk about. But here I would like to focus that it is participatory research. That means that the people who are involved in research, or the participants and the person who is doing the research or researcher, both are equally involved in the research process. Equally involved in the research process. So that means that they have to and then only they can interact with each other, know about each other, and come up with a solution. Then, feminist research frequently defines a special relationship with the reader. It amounts to the same thing, that when your research is published or your paper is published, you have to write it in such a way, you have to project it in such a way that the person reading or going through the literature, going through the paper, connect with it. That means again we'll come to the post-positivist stance here, कि किस तरह से आप अपनी रिसर्च कर रहे हैं. उसका एक बहुत ही ऑब्जेक्टिविस्ट स्टैंस नहीं हो सकता. आपको उसको बहुत सब्जेक्टिव तरीके से, बहुत इन्वॉल्व तरीके से करना होगा, जिससे औरतों की परेशानियां, औरतों के इश्यूज, औरतों की प्रॉब्लम्स बाहर निकल के आ सके, और एक सेंसिटिव तरीके से, संवेदनशीलता के साथ आपको उसे करना है. Then the rejection of positivism and development of feminist empiricism through post-positivism endorsement. Now, I would like to focus here on this positivism and post-positivist stance, especially for the research scholars, जो बहुत बार ये बात मुझसे करते आए हैं कि positivism और पोस्ट पॉजिटिविज्म इंडोर्समेंट का क्या है. Now, if you talk about positivism, जो हम एरिस्टोटल और उस तरीके की बात करते हैं, या ऑगस्ट कॉम्टे की बात करते हैं, तो positivism is about an absolute reality where the objectivity is the only thing. जबकि आप पोस्ट पॉजिटिविज्म और पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म की जब आप बात करते हैं, तो आप ये बात कर रहे होते हैं कि सोशल साइंस रिसर्च में कोई एब्सोल्यूट रियलिटी नहीं है. पॉजिटिविज्म का ये कहना था कि हम रियलिटी जो है वो एब्सोल्यूट है, एक ही सिंगल टेंजिबल रियलिटी है, जिसको हम एक एक्सपेरिमेंट के थ्रू या आइडियलिज्म और नेचुरलिज्म, मतलब उसके थ्रू हम कर सकते हैं, और उसमें कोई चेंज नहीं है. जबकि और नोअर और नोन में कोई रिश्ता नहीं है. कॉज एंड इफेक्ट रिलेशनशिप को जानने का एक बहुत ही एक्सपेरिमेंटल स्टैंड है. जबकि पोस्ट पॉजिटिविज्म ने इस चीज को सिरे से खारिज किया है, has rejected it and said that in social science research you cannot be very objective, and the knower and the known are linked to each other. Now this positivism and post positivism itself require a different session. ये बहुत ही लंबी एक चीज है जिसके लिए शायद कभी और अगर एक और वेबिनार हम इस पे करेंगे जिसपे हम बात करेंगे थ्रू the progression of positivism to pre-positivism, positivism, post-positivism, and then now we are coming to post-modernism, and we'll be talking about the ontology, epistemology, etiology, and everything related to it. But here सिर्फ जानने के लिए हमें ये जानना है कि फेमिनिस्ट में आपको पोस्ट पॉजिटिविज्म इंडोर्समेंट करना है, जिसमें औरतें साथ में मिलती हैं जो रिसर्च कर रही हैं, जिन पे रिसर्च हो रहा है, जो रिसर्च पढ़ रही हैं, और जो आदमी भी उसमें इन्वॉल्व है, उनको साथ में मिलके उनके अंदर चेंज आता है, वो मिले हुए एक दूसरे को वो इफेक्ट करते हैं. अगर एक महिला की तरह एक महिला के ऊपर अगर हम शोध कर रहे हैं तो उस महिला के एक्सपीरियंसेस हम पे असर डालेंगे, और जो हमारे प्रीवियस एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं वो उस महिला पे असर डालेंगे, जब हमारी रिसर्च का उस हिसाब से प्रोग्रेशन होगा. The pervasive influence of gender relations. That means the feminist research is committed to describe, explain, interpret the female stance or the female world. So whenever we say that we are doing a feminist research, the research is aimed at describing, explaining, and interpreting female world, her world, seen through the eyes of a woman's world seen through the eyes of a woman. Normally, we say that because we have always believed that the researches which have been done basically on women have been done by men, which fail to catch the essence of being woman, essence of her feelings, her emotions, her perspectives, her point of view. So this is very, very important when we talk about feminist research, that a women's stance has to come. The value-ladenness of science. The feminists maintain that each inquiry takes on values of people who do the research. Now here we are talking about post-positivism stance here, where we say that this, because we always say that science is value-free. अगर हम एकदम जो पॉजिटिविज्म की बात है, हमारी जो पॉजिटिविज्म बिलीव करता था कि अगर एक साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी हो रही है तो वो एकदम साइंटिफिक ढंग से हो रही है, उसमें सब्जेक्टिविटी का, वैल्यू का कोई स्थान नहीं है. There is no place for that. But it is not true in social science research, and exactly in feminist research also. We cannot say that we cannot separate a woman from her natural setting, take it out of the context in which she is living, in which she is happy, sad, angry, feeling oppressed, feeling subjugated. It is also because of the natural settings. So you're taking out a person out of a natural setting and then reading the person, studying the person, and then you are saying that there has to be no value, no attitude, no perspective attached. It is not possible. It is not a good research. It cannot, because it will not be able to reflect the nuances a woman feels. Like if I am feeling subjugated or oppressed in my in an office where I feel, and if a woman feels very oppressed at home because she is victim of domestic abuse or something, and you take her out of a natural setting and then you try to ask questions to her, her responses will vary, because if the husband is sitting there in another room, the nuances will be different. If she is a victim at a place and you take her out and bring her in a safer place, the nuances, the sensation, the emotions, the voice, everything will change a bit. So you will not be able to get the perfect picture. So the value laden of science has to go. Now, what are the features of feminist research methodology? The adoption of liberatory methodology. Feminist research is primarily concerned with emancipation of women from oppression. So you have to understand that whenever you say that you are talking about feminist research, then a research can be termed as feminist if it is leading to emancipation of women, if it is leading to liberation of women from oppression, subjugation, from the power hierarchy. In order to change the status quo, feminists must integrate with an active participation in the struggle against women oppression. So try to understand this. अगर आप किसी भी रिसर्च को नारीवाद शोध कहते हैं, रिसर्च है जब वो एक औरत को उसके मौजूदा हालात में जिसमें वो अपने को असहाय, दबा, कुचला महसूस करती है, उससे बाहर निकालता है। मतलब वो किसी तरीके से उसकी मदद कर रहा है उन हालातों को बदलने में, वो स्टेटस को चेंज करने में। जैसे हमने बात की थी पार्टिसिपेटरी रिसर्च मेथड्स की। सो पार्टिसिपेटरी रिसर्च मेथड्स जो हैं आपके, वो यही हैं। दीज आर पार्टिसिपेटरी रिसर्च मेथड्स कि औरतें साथ में बैठ के मिलकर काम कर रही हैं, रिसर्च कर रही हैं और अपने बारे में, अपनी स्थिति को बदलने में अग्रसर हैं, फोकस्ड है। देन ओनली यू से दैट इट इज अ फेमिनिस्ट रिसर्च मेथड। एंड इसमें दोनों बदलते हैं, रिसर्चर भी बदलता है, आपके भी अपने जो विचार होते हैं, आपके प्रेजुडिसेस होते हैं, आपके स्टीरियोटाइप्स होते हैं, वो कहीं ना कहीं ब्रेक होते हैं। आपके अंदर भी बदलाव आता है टुवर्ड्स फॉर बेटर, टू अंडरस्टैंड women better. You also tend to get involved in the process of making a woman's life better. Then, the pursuit of non-hierarchical research relationships. The feminist methodology seeks to rely on democratic participatory inquiry between researcher and research. Now you have to understand here, we're not talking about the scientific methods where the researcher is placed here and the subject is placed niche. ऐसा नहीं है. I'm not looking at the participant or the subject. We don't call it as subject. We normally call as a participant of the research. So here it is not a hierarchical relationship where I am the boss, I'm sitting at the powerful position and I'm looking up to you and you are just a guinea pig or a creature whom I'm going to dissect and find out what's wrong with you. No. I'm not in a powerful status quo hierarchical relationship with my researched participant. I'm not looking at the person from a top angle view. Okay, ye batao. No. We are in a democratic participatory inquiry where I am trying to find out about you, and in the process, you also come to know about me, and together we begin on the journey towards emancipation. हम दोनों मिलके बदलाव की एक यात्रा में सम्मिलित होते हैं और हम मिलके एक दूसरे के हालातों को, एक दूसरे के मनोभाव को, फीलिंग्स को, इमोशंस को बदलते हैं। और जो रिसर्च का हमारा रिजल्ट निकल के आता है वो इस तरीके से है कि कुछ बदलाव आएगा बेहतरी के लिए, औरतों की स्थिति में, पर्सनल, सोसाइटल, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल, इस तरीके से। Like for example, in my study which I did on aggressive women who became empowered, the journey was to know them, to find out what caused them aggression and how they overcame it and became empowered. तो उसमें हम भी बदले. There were certain prejudices and obstacles and blocks within me. While talking to them, it also opened up me. It opens my perspective. While talking to me, certain perspective of those women were changed. And as a result, when we came out of the 3 years of journey of my research, we both were changed for better. And we came up with certain theories which were useful for the society, for education, for people out there. So this is what is a feminist research. It is participatory, it is democratic. We both are going to share and we are going to negotiate the outcomes, as we say in the naturalistic inquiry. I cannot write what I feel about a woman as per my wish. No, it's her words that I'm quoting. It's her experience that I'm reporting. So I have to negotiate with the participants that is this what you want me to say? Is that what you want me to write? Is that what the message you want to convey to the readers? Because as we discussed earlier, even the readers are important. They should also connect. And as we talk about, it's a naturalistic inquiry. To study the women in their natural settings. The constructive use of role play experiments can be there in a social psychological context. But however, whenever you are studying a woman in a feminist research, you have to study in her context. And as I discussed, it's a participatory research method. So अगर हमें गांव की महिला के पास जा रहे हैं और हम जानना चाह रहे हैं कि उसको क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, तो हम उसको वहां से निकाल के शहर में ले आए, एसी रूम में बिठा दें और फिर हम कहें बताएं, कैसे होगा? हमें वहीं जाना है, हमें वहीं जाके उसकी स्थिति को देखना है और हमें देखना है कि क्या समस्याएं हैं या क्या उसकी मनोदशा है या क्या हालात हैं और कैसे हम उन्हें बदल सकते हैं। जैसे कि ऐसे ही हमने बोला, फेमिनिस्ट रिसर्च इज ऑलवेज कमिटेड टू प्रैक्टिस, दैट मीन्स लीडिंग टुवर्ड्स इमेंसिपेशन ऑफ वुमेन. Meta-analysis is a different thing. Meta-analysis again is integration of reference procedures and studying those procedures to summarize the findings of numerous studies. It delves deeper into it. Then ethnography can also be a method which we normally use. Ethnography is studying the women in their own culture. Because see, the traditions and the culture in themselves contain all the things, all the problems, all the prejudices, and all the stereotypes. Because gender, as we say, is a social and a cultural construct. It is not a natural biological thing. It's a social construct. It is a cultural construct. So when you're talking about the problems which women as gender face, women face, not female, the women face, then the problems are arising out of a cultural context. So ethnography is a very good method to study them, because you are studying them in their natural settings, in their cultural context where the things are there, where the stereotypes are there, where the prejudices are there, where all those currents are there. Then epistemology and methodology go hand in hand, and we know that we have to find out what is the reality and how to find the reality. And so there are feminist epistemologies which I will not focus much on, but they are feminist empiricism, standpoint, and postmodernism. Now again, Dr. Jasuja, I would request you to create a webinar on post-positivism and postmodernism and empiricism and idealism one day, so that we can talk about those things in detail. Because
Definitely,
covering positivism and post-positivism and postmodernism in this half an hour or 1 hour is very difficult. But I think the research scholars would like to know more about it, that what is the basic difference. Although we tend to focus on that, but still we can have that.
Sure, sure.
Feminist talks about the sexism and androcentrism. Sexism is the kind of unbiased, the kind of biased attitude which you have towards women. And androcentrism is all about that a male part or male perspective or a male standpoint is always higher. You know, this power hierarchy which we talk about. So these are evident in researches and social biases, and they reflect. The sexism reflect in a research. So when you talk about a feminist empiricism, it aims at removing those biases and overcoming those biases while doing that. And it's not that only men, when they do such kind of research, that you get sexism and androcentrism. Even when women do that, they knowingly and unknowingly and subconsciously, they are not even aware of the fact that they are also going towards it. Because again, the cultural construct, we are all born, brought up, उसी को पी के हम लोग बड़े हो रहे हैं. तो कितनी चीजें हैं जो हमारे ही ब्लड में, डीएनए में आ चुकी हैं कि आपको मान के ही चलना है कि ये है, जो बहुत ही सेक्सिस्ट स्टैंड होता है कहीं ना कहीं. Can we do that? So those can be overcome and minimized. Then feminist research methods use qualitative research methods. But however, in qualitative research, when we talk about the rigor and the trustworthiness of qualitative research methods, because as we know, थोड़ा बहुत scholars को भी अब idea होगा कि हमारे qualitative research methods की validity, reliability अलग तरीके से चलती है. हम उसको saturation के थ्रू देखते हैं. हम उसको हमेशा अपने स्टैंड पॉइंट को हम इतना सैचुरेट करते हैं उस चीज को कि वो अपने आप में फिर वैलिडिटी होती है. तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारे जो प्रेजुडिसेस और बायसेस हैं जो उसमें इंटरफेयर करने लगते हैं, दैट नीड्स टू बी कंट्रोल्ड. And that can be done when you collect a lot of data, saturation, and also when you exchange and share with peers or your guides. जब कोई दूसरा उसको वो करेगा तो peer exchange is a very good way of bringing rigor and trustworthiness and validity and reliability to your. And again, triangulation. Triangulation is one method in qualitative research. If you use triangulation, that means अगर आप डेटा अलग अलग तरीकों से इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं और फिर भी वही चीज आ रही है, तो वहां आपकी रिलायबिलिटी और वैलिडिटी वहां पे कंस्ट्रक्ट हो जाती है. So this is one of the way you can overcome the biases and prejudices. Then, feminist standpoint epistemology. It contends that the characteristics of researchers are crucial determinants of understanding of reality. Exactly. जो रिसर्च कर रहा है उसके क्या डिटर्मिनेंट्स हैं, उसके क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं। अगर एक महिला पे रिसर्च कर रही है, लेकिन अगर उसके कुछ प्रेजुडिसेस हैं, उसके कुछ बाइसेस हैं, तो वो उस रिसर्च पे रिफ्लेक्ट करेंगे। किस कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के साथ वो जा रही हैं, क्या वो देखना चाह रही हैं। If they are going with a stand of finding out certain problems or certain issues, how did they want to find out? What kind of solution are they looking for? Because as we said, अगर qualitative research है तो उसके हमारे को उसके reliability और validity के लिए हमें उस पर work करना है। तो reality को हम अपने perspective से understand करते हैं। Because here we are talking about post-positivism. So when we talk about post-positivism, we always say that the knower and known are related, and we are relying on the negotiated outcomes. So to understand the reality, the researcher is equally involved. So what the reality, how I am perceiving the reality is depending on my previous experiences. See, it is not a scientific experiment. It is not an objective study. It is a subjective thing where the knower and known are related. And we're talking about the negotiated outcomes. And we are going through the journey. So I am starting the journey not with a blank mind, but with my experiences. जैसे हम constructivism की बात जब हम करते हैं ना, how you construct your reality. So you have to understand the reality. You have to understand all these things. Then it regards the subjugated social position of women as a privileged vantage point to view the social reality. Now, if you want to understand this, अगर हम औरतों की बात करें तो उनको एक प्रिविलेज एडवांटेज पॉइंट इस तरह से मिल जाता है कि वो सप्रेस्ड और ऑब्जुगेटेड पोजीशन में हैं, तो इसलिए उस वक्त वो उनको ज्यादा बेहतर वो एक एबिलिटी मिल गई है इस बात को समझने में और रिफ्लेक्ट करने में कि एक सप्रेस्ड पोजीशन क्या होती। अगर आप खुद सप्रेस्ड हैं, अगर आप खुद सब्जुगेटेड हैं, तो आप बेहतर तरीके से समझ सकते हैं कि एक दबा कुचला इंसान कैसा महसूस करेगा बनिस्बत उसके जो बाहर खड़ा किसी दबे कुचले इंसान को देख रहा है और उसकी पोजीशन के बारे में बता रहा है ना, एक होता है। तो अगर हम बाहर बैठे बिल्डिंग में नीचे देख रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं नीचे वाले आदमी को धूप लग रही है, और जिसको सच में धूप लग रही है वो सच्चाई कौन बेहतर बता पाएगा, जो बाहर ऊपर अंदर पंखे पे खड़ा है और कह रहा है कि नीचे धूप है, या जो खुद धूप में झुलस रहा है। तो जो धूप में झुलस रहा है उसके पास ज्यादा एक एडवांटेज पॉइंट होता है। तो यही हम फेमिनिस्ट स्टैंड पॉइंट एपिस्टेमोलॉजी में कहते हैं that women have suppressed, that they have a superior ability to reflect and comprehend the reality. Then we talk a little bit about the feminist post-modernism. Again, as I said, that we need to have another session on post-modernism if you want to understand it completely. But we need to develop and understand the modernism that which is, as we said, the postmodernism is contextualist and non-foundationalist and non-dualist or multiplist. So as you said, post-positivism का ही एक आपका डाइवर्जन निकल के आता है। पोस्ट-मॉडर्निज्म में जो बात कर रहा है कि सोशल साइंस के रिसर्च में बहुत वेरियस स्टैंड पॉइंट्स हैं और मल्टीपल वो हैं जिसके हिसाब से हमें चलना है। It maintains that language cannot be used to refer, identify, and individuate reality. So we will not touch more about it because that reads in itself another session about postmodernism. But what it says is that there are multiple realities and you have to reflect upon those things. There is no single tangible reality. There are multiple realities. If there is a problem, there is no single solution or cause of it. There are multiple causes of it and all the causes are interrelated to each other. Like how we say in an ecosystem or an ecological web, that even if you remove one single thing, the entire balance comes crashing down. Same is the thing here. There are multiple realities. There is no one single reality. So if a person is saying that his or her reality is this, there are various causes behind it. So you have to understand that. Then we talk about feminist praxis. It refers to the varied ways the feminist research proceeds. The feminist perspective challenges the traditional research paradigm of positivism, and which assumes a unified truth with the idea of testing hypothesis. Feminist praxis builds on the understanding of difference, translates insight by emphasizing the importance of taking issues of power, authority, ethics, and reflexivity. Now, I would like to come to this praxis part because it is the most important part of feminist research method. Now, feminist praxis, as I said, that if you look at the axioms of naturalistic inquiry, the students can always go through the book Lincoln and Guba, which have the axioms of naturalistic inquiry, which will give you a brief glance and a very good one. It's a very good book if you can go through it. And it tells you about positivism and post-positivism and the naturalistic inquiry axioms. So we in feminist research, we challenge the traditional research paradigms where we say कि अगर एक problem है तो उसके पीछे एक reason है और वही एक reason है, single tangible reality है. ऐसा नहीं है. आप testing of hypothesis नहीं कर सकते. तभी हम कहते हैं कि हम feminist research में ज्यादा से ज्यादा rely करते हैं qualitative research methods. बिकॉज हम ये मान के चल रहे हैं कि एक सिंगल रियलिटी नहीं है, एक सिंगल कॉज नहीं है, बहुत सारी चीजें आपस में इंटरवाइंड है, गुथी हुई है. उन गुत्थियों को सुलझाना इतना आसान नहीं है, आपको बहुत सारे तरीके लेने पड़ेंगे उन गुत्थियों को सुलझाने के. तभी हम कहते हैं कि ट्रायंगुलेशन की बात हम करते हैं. दैट यू हैव टू ट्रायंगुलेशन इज वेरी गुड फॉर क्वालिटेटिव बिकॉज वो आपको वैलिडिटी और रिलायबिलिटी और ट्रस्टवर्थीनेस में भी हेल्प करता है. और ट्रायंगुलेशन इज गुड इन टर्म्स ऑफ कलेक्शन ऑफ डेटा बिकॉज आपको बहुत डीप, rich, saturated data मिलता है उससे. So this is the reason we always say that you have to go for triangulation, because there is no single truth and there is no one single truth, because when you are trying to study the life of and emotions and mentality and mental psyche of a woman, how you can say that there is and be a one single reality, and what might be true now, it might not be true after 4 years, because I have grown as a person. And how can you test an hypothesis about a person? आप मेरे बारे में कोई assumption करके कैसे से कह सकते हैं कि मैं ऐसी होंगी ऐसी नहीं होंगी? तो जब आप मुझे जानेंगे तब आपको पता चलेगा. अब जो आप मुझे जितना जान रहे हैं वो आप मुझे जान रहे हैं कि पहचान रहे हैं? I may be projecting something, I may be something else, I may be something else which even I am not aware of. Like, let me give you an example. When I was doing my study of transformation of women aggression to women empowerment, which I did through grounded theory methodology, there were women whom I had known for years. But still, I could not say when I started talking to them that I knew them. No, I didn't. Because there were so many hidden things which even I was not aware of. Because they haven't shared with me. They haven't shared their fears. They haven't shared their doubts. They haven't shared anything. And we all have one corner in ourselves which we don't even like to share with ourselves. You know, it's all hidden, closet. There are certain dark areas or gray areas of ours, even we would not like to visit those rooms because we're scared of confronting those realities. We're scared of coming across those realities because we just want them to hide and remain hidden somewhere. वो है और वही हमारे अंदर की गुत्थियां हैं. तो जब आप कह रहे हैं तो आपको लोगों को समझना है, तो आप ट्रेडिशनल रिसर्च पॉजिटिविस्ट मेथड्स के साथ नहीं चल सकते कि हम जाएंगे क्वेश्चनेयर देंगे, वो लोग भर के दे देंगे, क्या आप खुश हैं? हाँ. आप खुश नहीं है? हाँ. फिर हम उसका डेटा एनालिसिस करेंगे, टेस्ट निकालेंगे और उसमें आ जाएगा 50% महिलाएं खुश हैं, 50% महिलाएं खुश नहीं है, तो हमें ये करके उन्हें खुश कर देना चाहिए. इतना आसान नहीं है. Life is not black or white, it's shades of gray, and those shades keep on changing. I might be a darker gray today and I might be a lighter gray after a few months or something. So there cannot be one truth, and there cannot be testing of hypothesis. And especially if we are committed, as we said, commitment to praxis, if we are committed at improving the situation of the women personally, उसकी गुत्थियां सुलझाने में उसकी मदद करें, सोशली उसका स्टेटस बदलने में मदद करें, तो हमारे पास एक रियलिटी नहीं हो सकती. जितनी महिलाएं हैं उतनी ही उनकी रियलिटी है. पुरुषों के साथ भी सच है ये, जितने पुरुष हैं उतनी उनकी रियलिटीज हैं. पर अभी चूंकि आज हम फेमिनिस्ट रिसर्च की बात कर रहे हैं और हम ये बात कर रहे हैं कि अगर हमें उनकी स्थितियां बदलनी है, उत्थान की तरफ बढ़ना है, वी हैव टू डू समथिंग फॉर देम एंड फॉर आवरसेल्फ, देन वी नीड टू गो ऑन दिस जर्नी टुवर्ड्स एम्पावरमेंट एंड टुवर्ड्स इमेंसिपेशन, टुवर्ड्स फाइंडिंग आउट द ट्रुथ, टुवर्ड्स फाइंडिंग आउट द इश्यूज which are there in society and which are there in us, towards finding out the reasons and the causes behind the prejudices and the stereotypes which we always all believe in, to find out what causes those stereotypes and prejudice to be made, what causes them to stay and linger on, what stops us to break those stereotypes, why are we not doing that, Why as women we are not breaking the stereotypes? Why as women we are not on starting on that journey? What stops us? What makes us vulnerable? So all these questions, all these issues, they need to be delved deeper. They cannot be done on a superficial manner. There cannot be one single truth. I might say to a person that there is one single truth, but it's not reality. Because two or three truths I am not telling you, and two or three truths even I am not aware of. कि वो हैं. कोई पूछता है तो हमें पता चलता है. Like let me tell you an example from my study when I was doing the study on those women. I knew these women for years, and after talking to her, I asked her a simple question. Do you think this can be the cause of this problem? And she just went quiet and she stopped talking to me for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And then one day suddenly I talked to her. And it was at midnight, I suppose. And I always believe that this is the biggest achievement of my PhD. She was a counselor and I was talking to her. And I asked her a certain personal question, which I would not like to reveal on a public platform here. But I asked her a question because from her data which I was collecting, I would not like to call it as data, but what the story or her reality I was studying, I could feel, and I just asked her a question: that is this the problem that is causing you this agony? And she just went quiet and she didn't talk to me for days. And then I was talking to her at night, because when you are collecting data with women, there can be no one, as you said, as a natural setting. So I was with my women whom I was researching upon at their home, temple, mall, talking about books, serials, everything, because while talking, you get out the things. And then at night, I called her, and then she, talking to me, she started crying. And then she said, I am going to commit suicide now. And I was like, what? And then immediately, fortunately, I had a landline number or another number. And I just called her brother and said, please go and look at her into a room. She is contemplating such kind of thing. And he rushed in, and yes, she had consumed drugs. And then she was rushed to hospital, and then everything was well. But however, those truths were not there, even she was not even aware of this. And then it came out, and then she was okay. She went for therapy on her own, and she came out well, and now she's doing very well. She's okay, she's healthy. But her emotional blockage was there, which she didn't even know. So we all are there. So when we're talking about the feminist research, we are focused on finding out the truth. We are focused on moving towards a better emancipated state, better empowered state. And that is what is commitment to praxis is all about. So to sum it up, since I very well know that what time I have, because I have been a part of it. So to sum it up, to underground underneath the theory and the practice of feminist research is ever evolving and shifting. It's like a tectonic plate. हम कहते हैं ना, कोई कहता है plates move करती हैं and all that. हमेशा evolve कर रहा है, जैसे हमारी धरती evolve करती रहती है ना, mother earth. और हम कहते हैं वो घूम रही है और अपना स्पेस बदल रही है, पोजीशन बदल रही है. तो हम सबकी भावनाएं, हम सबके इमोशंस, हम सबके इश्यूज, हम सबके प्रॉब्लम्स वो बदलते रहते हैं. It's not merely an expansion or reconfiguration of boundaries, but a qualitative shift in political and historical consciousness. As a society, as we are evolving and growing, so are the mentalities and perspectives which are changing. So we keep on evolving, keep on growing. So thank you. That's all from my side. And as I said, that feminist research is all about ever evolving. And I hope the students or the scholars have got some clue about it. And I would like to stress upon it that qualitative research methods and other things can be.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a nice presentation. We have a few queries from our audience.
Oh, sure.
So one scholar is interested to
I think
ask about
there's
the
Dr. Ritu, please mute yourself.
okay.
One second. Ask, please mute.
No issue. Okay. Let me mute. One scholar is interested to know the limitations of feminist research methods.
एक तो ये म्यूट करिए आप, किसकी आवाज आ रही है? हाँ, क्या फिर से बताइए.
मैम, एक स्कॉलर जानना चाह रहे हैं व्हाट आर द लिमिटेशंस ऑफ फेमिनिस्ट रिसर्च मेथड्स.
सी एज आई सेड कि आप ऐसे कोई कंपार्टमेंटलाइज नहीं कर सकते कि ये रिसर्च मेथड फेमिनिस्ट है कि नहीं है। अगर वो उस तरफ जा रहे हैं तो वो है। लिमिटेशंस इनकी वही हो जाएंगे फिर जो हम क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च मेथड्स की बात करते हैं कि अगर आप सैचुरेशन ऑफ डेटा नहीं कर रहे हैं या आप डिफरेंट मेथड से डेटा कलेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं या अगर आप मेथड डेटा अधूरा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, वो सैचुरेटेड नहीं है, प्रॉपर नहीं है, तो नेचुरली आप, और अगर आपके बहुत प्रेजुडिसेस और बाइसेस हैं, जैसे हम कहते हैं बहुत ही नोवाइस रिसर्चर है अगर, तो या तो वो थोड़े दिन बाद करें या फिर वो अपने पीयर या गाइड से हमेशा इस पे एक रिफ्लेक्शंस लेते रहें। यही एक तरीका है जो हम क्वालिटेटिव में यूज करते हैं ट्रस्टवर्दीनेस और वैलिडिटी और रिलायबिलिटी का। दोज आर द थिंग्स। दूसरा लिमिटेशन आप ये कह सकते हैं वो है कि पार्टिसिपेटरी रिसर्च ज्यादा होनी चाहिए। You cannot have a very autocratic or authoritative standpoint of a view for a feminist method, because your aim is to evolve and to improve the status of the women, and you have to do it along with them. हम आपका स्टेटस अपने हिसाब से नहीं सुधार सकते, हमें जानना पड़ेगा आपके साथ बैठ के कि बताइए आपको कैसे लगता है कि आपकी स्थिति सुधरेगी, तो वो एक स्टैंड होना बहुत जरूरी है।
Another question is related with our education policy. One scholar is interested to know wherein we can contribute the feminist research methods. It should be started from schooling education, or it may be elaborated in higher education system only.
फेमिनिस्ट रिसर्च की बात तो नहीं करूंगी, मैं फेमिनिस्ट वाली बात जरूर कर सकती हूँ ये, क्योंकि रिसर्च तो फिर आपके हायर एजुकेशन की चीजों में चला जाएगा। स्कूल में अगर आप बात करें तो स्कूल को आप जेंडर न्यूट्रल बात करिए। हाँ, अगर अभी को याद होगा तो हमने निर्वाण में अभी जेंडर न्यूट्रल एजुकेशन पे भी एक वेबिनार किया था, जेंडर न्यूट्रल एजुकेशन पे सेंटर फॉर वुमेन एंड जेंडर स्टडीज के तहत, where we had
Right.
called campaigns also. We had I had done that at that time. So आपको जेंडर न्यूट्रल, जेंडर फ्लूइड एजुकेशन और सेटअप बनाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि जब नेशनल जो आप न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की बात कर रहे हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा इंक्लूसिविटी की बात कर रही है अगर आप देखें तो। और जेंडर का मतलब अब कहीं से भी आपका सिर्फ मैन वुमेन या बॉय गर्ल नहीं रह गया है। अब हम जेंडर की जब बात करते हैं तो इट इज इनकम्पासिंग ऑल द थिंग्स, ट्रांसजेंडर, LGBTQI एंड जेंडर फ्लूइड। तो आपको जेंडर फ्लूइड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, जेंडर फ्लूइड करिकुलम, जेंडर फ्लूइड क्लासरूम, टीचर्स का एटीट्यूड, क्लासरूम का एटीट्यूड, हर चीज करनी पड़ेगी। वो इनकॉर्पोरेशन अगर आप करते हैं तो वो आगे आप बढ़ेंगे। दूसरा, स्थितियों के बारे में हायर एजुकेशन की तरफ हम जा सकते हैं, स्थिति के बारे में कैसे औरतें अपनी स्थिति सुधार सकती हैं या सुधारी जा सकती हैं, वो है, उसकी तरफ हम जरूर बात कर सकते हैं। बट स्कूल लेवल में तो यही सबसे बड़ी बात है कि आप टीचर्स का एटीट्यूड, बच्चों का एटीट्यूड, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का एटीट्यूड, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो आप प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, जो इन्वायरमेंट प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि अब तो खैर ये दिन भी लग गए कि आप कहें कि लड़कियां ये करेंगी, लड़के ये करेंगे, अब तो सब कुछ कर रहे हैं। And school can be a wonderful place, basic place, the first place wherein we can break those stereotypes and taboos and prejudices and come up with the new fair policies.
Thank you, ma'am. As we are running short of time, so I will not take more questions, though we have received few more queries. And ma'am, thank you for opting such a relevant topic and delivering beautiful presentation on this topic of demand. And it's my proud privilege that I have been opted to deliver vote of thanks on this occasion. As of now, we are having 11:49, so it is not possible to carry all the questions. So thank you again, ma'am. And I expect that you will be connected with us in near future to deliver more
Always.
relevant topics. And I expect that from your institution, new experts may deliver a few lectures on in near future.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Dr. Jasuja, it is a pleasure. It is a homecoming. And how can I not be connected with Nirvan? Ever. I'll always be. A part of me will always be with NUJ. And yes, definitely we'll be doing more deliberations and more lectures on valid points. And I'm thankful to Professor Goyal, VC, who has been motivating and encouraging and giving me this opportunity. And thanks to you, Dr. Preeti. Without her, I don't think we can ever have this webinar, and Alokji. And I could not see Kritika somewhere, but my thanks and to Dr. Kritika Tekwani as well. Thank you, Dr. Jasuja. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
It's an honor, ma'am, to have you on presentation. Thank you. Thank you.
हो गया